teaching style, teaching theories. I bet you are the expert for this. You know much more about these theories than me. Okay, so and see the Bloom's hierarchy. And first, the basic one is knowledge, and the highest one is evaluation. Students can evaluate by themselves, and the top one. Okay, so I'm very confident for this because I'm expert for Chinese teaching style. And based on the Confucius or traditional Confucius theories, so Chinese teaching more relied on teacher-oriented style. I think some teachers, you have some Chinese students, so you might know Chinese students have a very different learning style, and so they are relied on teachers very much. So the teacher in China, teacher normally offers passive learning, rote learning, and meaningful memorization, and exam smart. So in Chinese students, they like to memorize a lot of things, even for English language. So I remember I'm an IELTS teacher for many years. For the IELTS speaking, very peculiar things. So, for example, well, I'd like to talk about well. And some Chinese students, they really like to imitate. And then when they say well, they say like a robot. Well, I like to talk. But well, it doesn't mean it's just like this. But Chinese students like to imitate very much. Well, I like to talk about something like that. Okay, and then they are exam smart. I know. I was a secondary English teacher in China from 2008. So when I taught in that secondary school, and all of the students learned English, just that they do a lot of exam papers. So they learned a lot of grammar. So they can read, but they can't speak. And so I remember that every week we have the special newspaper we called English Weekly newspaper. Actually, I hated that very much because I need to correct all the papers every week. So the students, they just learned how to write the grammar, how to fill in the past tense or future tense or some high-level grammar. But actually, that was not popular for oral English. So that's why you will hear some Chinese students, they speak very strange English. They thought they were high-level English, but actually it's very strange. Okay, so, and then here, based on Confucius theories, everyone can get 4 marks if memorized, even for English learning. So Chinese students like to recite every sentence from textbooks, and they thought that if they recite them, they can get 4 marks for their writing task, And then teachers are always right. So Chinese students like to listen to teacher, and they relied on teacher, and because they are afraid of teachers instead of their parents. Okay. So, and according to Confucius, the discipline is really, really important for my culture and for Chinese culture. From the primary school, you can see this is their classroom. Every Chinese student must sit like this way or like this way. They were very strict in classroom. And for Western Island, now it's very casual. So I teach English in Galway, in 16 Galway schools. So the primary atmosphere is always like this. But in China now, some international schools, they imitate a Western way. But for the real Chinese schools, they still like this way. They must sit like this. Okay, I think some of you know that. Okay, and so I play this video for you. And she's my friend. She teaches Chinese in one of the primary school in that city. So I playing this. Okay. This is very important before class. So they need to do this ratio to greeting teachers each other. They will say hello teacher, and then they bow each other to show respect. And the student, even primary grade 1 students, they will do the same thing. And this, okay. Okay. And this is, they learn the Chinese. Because I mentioned the Chinese students learn everything rote learning, memorize. Okay. So then, this is the way for rote learning, and they try to repeat the words every time, and then they can remember. Definitely here, some students, they are absent in class, but they still to read the same things with them together. Okay, so this is the secondary school. This school, I had 3 years experience teaching in this school. So it's still from my friend. Okay, see here for the secondary school. 80 students.
Good morning, everyone. Sit down, please.
Yeah, so this is secondary school. The school is really top school in my city, and there's 80 students in each classroom, and for 80. See the whole classroom, every corner have students there. Okay, and because it's a really good school, for the whole grade, one grade have 10 classes. That means one grade have 800 students. Yeah. So this is the English class. So before the English class, they say, good morning, Mr. Yang, and good morning, students. Then they see doctors like that. And so here is they are learning English. They have morning reading. Every day have morning reading. So this is the English morning reading. So see how do they learn English?
Of the rubbish.
Yeah, amazing. So this is the morning reading. So they try to learn one word, repeat again. So that's why you will see the Chinese students, even for college students, they will repeat the words again and they recite every sentence. So they like to say the same sentence from the textbook. Sometimes you will hear the sentence. It's so strange for that situation. That means they recited from the textbook. Okay, so here this is a high school. We have the middle school and high school separate. It's not the Irish. It's 5 years in whole secondary school. Okay. So after this, they can start class. That means they show respect to each other. That's why Chinese students, they respect teachers more. When they see you in campus, they will say, "Hello, teacher." That's why. Okay. And here, see, you know something. Some Chinese students are math genius. Actually, they're not math genius. They just good memory. They recite everything, even the math. They recite this. Okay. And here, so I just mentioned Chinese students, they learn everything very hard and they memorize everything until the leaving certificate. And so, can you guess what's this?
It's all the books. Graduation.
Yes, it's a high school. Yes, high school Chinese. The campus always like this, and when they finish the certificate exam, they threw out all of the memories, they threw out all the materials, and they don't want that. Actually, as Chinese students, they hate rote learning, but they must do that. So we can see here, and then so this is the Chinese education system. It's over pursuit for students' high score, and then very strong foundation knowledge, but they don't know how to use them in the future. And then very good memory. And no project assignments because we just memorize everything. And then no presentation for assignments. So that's why Chinese students are very shy for presentation. And then less independent thinking, and less critical thinking, and less life skills. Okay, now go back to my research. So this is a result for the research. I get 39 samples for do my questionnaire. So we can see, and I still do the interview for some colleges in Ireland. And you see here, because I'm an IELTS teacher, so this one shows some students who got higher IELTS scores. Doesn't mean they improved a lot after 1 year in Ireland. So some students who got a less IELTS score, maybe after 1 year, and they improved a lot than those students who got higher score, because IELTS doesn't teach very professional language, very professional English words like accounting or business. Okay, so now I know I don't believe too much about students who got higher IELTS. Okay, because in China I teach IELTS. I know we teach a lot of skills for something. We teach a lot of technical or tips. We don't teach like language. Okay. And here, yeah, you can see here, after 1 year, some students can understand more than before. Okay, here's about students agree teaching styles very different from AFTVC. And the first one is they prefer individual projects, because Chinese students, they are used to do the individual projects. And then team projects with European students, team projects with Chinese, and presentation. With European students, they can get help. Okay. And here is some teachers said Chinese students they are not good at doing some projects because their language actually not, because they don't work very hard. Okay. And then this is interesting. I think it's interesting for you. And how to teach Chinese students. They like to get clear steps from teachers. They like to know how to study one step by one step. If you teach Chinese, give them clear instruction, they will be very happy. Okay? And then they want these 4 steps. Okay? Okay, thank you so much. I hope